All right, so you know how something comes out and then all the reviewers get it and then they use it and then they don't use it anymore and you never hear about it again. I think I have one of those lenses here with me today. The lens that we're talking about is the Sony 12 to 24 f4. F4. This lens came out in 2017, October or September of 2017, which would make this lens 7 years old at the time of recording this. So I just want to say that out loud. This video is not sponsored in any way. I went over to Dodd Camera, as you guys can see, and I rented this lens with my own money. No sponsorship from Dodd Camera either, but I did get a pretty good deal on it. $35 to rent it for the weekend, so that's pretty good. Full disclosure, I did try to get my hands on the 2.8, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. The price on this lens, brand new, is still $17.75. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But when I put down the deposit for this at Dodd, it was only like $6.50 or something like that. So I think that's probably more in line with what you would be able to get it for if you bought it used. Ultra wide angle zoom lenses. Up until this point, my widest zoom angle lens is a 20 millimeter prime lens. I don't really have a lot of, or I should say, I've never really thought that I had a lot of use for an ultra wide lens. I still don't, even after shooting with this for a little bit, but I think I gotta shoot some more with it. So I am gonna go out in the morning and shoot some more with it. So with all of that being said, let's talk about the build quality on this lens because it's a little bit interesting. Considering that it is a G lens, it's built like you would expect a G lens to be built. So you have your focus hold button here. You do have a manual and autofocus switch here. The the zoom ring is really well dampened, and it's a short throw between 12 and 24. This lens hood is built into the lens, and one of the things that I think is really cool about this lens is though the zooming isn't all internal, the way that like internal zooms work on the 70 to 200 f4, you can see that the lens element moves as you zoom. And so I'm guessing that because this hood is built in and because you can see that, I think that this would be sort of internal zooming. I don't know if like you have to worry about dust and such getting in there, but it is such a little ways to the zoom. Also, you guys can see that the lens kind of protrudes there, so you can't put any filters on there, which I think is the biggest reason that I've never been interested in this lens. When I think about a 12 to 24, the first thing that kind of came to mind was just like, whoa, that would be a really cool kind of like vlog lens, but you can't put an ND filter on here. And so that's the first reason. And then I am a person who's not really excited about f4 lenses. I've used the 16 to 35 f4 and I've used the 24 to 70 f4. And I just think that for the type of sort of overall lenses that those are, the kind of versatility that you get from those lenses, an f4 is never really good enough. It's never enough light to sort of satisfy my needs. And so I've never been interested in an f4. But for an ultra wide lens where you're really not getting much depth of field, and if you're out and you're shooting landscapes when you're not looking for a whole bunch of light, an f4 might be enough. And so that was really something that I was kind of thinking about, especially when you think about the price of the 2.8 G Master, right? The price of the 2.8 G Master is $3,000. And when you think about what you get with the G Master, you do get an aperture ring, which I thought was really funny that this G lens was missing, because on my 20 millimeter G lens, I do have an aperture ring, so I thought it was really funny that it was missing from this lens. So on the G Master, you get a stop of light, maybe an extra hold button, if I remember correctly, an aperture ring, and new focus motors. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth the price difference between these two lenses. If you were someone who's watching this video and you own the 2.8 version of this lens, the 12 to 24 2.8 G Master, let me know. Why you decided to get the G Master over this F4. More importantly, did you even know that this F4 existed? Because I didn't know that it existed until I went to rent the G Master, which is what I think is a problem with product reviews recently anyway, but that's another story. So I did go out and I shot with it a little bit last night, just because I wanted to get a feel for what it would be like to go out and shoot with the 12 to 24. I did try to shoot a lot at the 12 millimeter end of the lens, just because I have a 24 and I kind of know what that feels like. But let me tell you, man, this lens at 12 millimeters, it's really shocking just how wide it is. And so I kept it local. I walked around the neighborhood. I really wanted to get over to the Radio Flyer Factory, just to kind of give you guys a realistic idea of just how wide 12 millimeters are. And I have shot the Radio Flyer Factory at 20 millimeters before, so I'll put that up on screen, and then I will also put the 12 millimeters on screen so that you guys can see just how big of a difference it is. So, like I said, this is not a full review. I haven't had it long enough to review it fully, but I did just kind of want to have like a first look. If you can have a first look at a 6-year-old, 7-year-old lens, just give it like a first look and an overview of this lens. And then, ask the question. I know that people like landscape photographers and people who do like real estate photography and videography and stuff like that, this would be a really good lens for that kind of aspect of photography. But my real question is, what would you then need a 2.8 for? Because as I imagined, you don't need that much light when you're shooting landscapes, and when you are shooting interiors, I think for the most part, you have the windows open. You're trying to let in as much natural light as you possibly can. So you want as much to be in focus as you possibly can too with real estate photography and videos. So what would you need a 2.8 for is the question that I want to leave in this sort of, first look. One last thing that I do want to do is, just so you guys can sort of get an idea of what 12 millimeters looks like, I do want to throw this lens on this camera right now and then show you guys just how wide 12 millimeters would be on this talking head. So I'm going to do that right now. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here we are on the f4 lens at 24 millimeters. You guys can see that it looks a little bit different just because now we're at ISO 1000. I had to up the power of this key light to about 40% to get more light in. And then you guys can see that the depth of field back here is gone, and even like the lights over here just looks different just because it's f4. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different look. But this is what it looks like at 24 millimeters. And so if I zoom out to 12, look how wide this is. That's crazy. You can see the key light here up in the corner. You can see me touching it. Look how long my finger looks up there in the corner. Look how wide my hands look. You guys can see the kind of overhead rig that I'm using. You can see the overhead camera. You can see all of the things I have on the table. This is a weird look. This is how wide it is. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of give an overview of this lens and kind of give you guys a first look. Is this a lens that you guys are interested in? Have you ever shot 12 to 24? And if you are an owner of a 12 to 24, do you have the f4? Do you have the 2.8? And if you have the 2.8, why did you choose it over the f4, considering that like and these ultra wide kind of angle lenses, there's not a lot of depth of field to get. And for most aspects of it, and maybe I'm wrong, it just doesn't seem like the 2.8 is needed. Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk about it. And then, yeah. You guys also let me know if you want to see a full review of the 12 to 24 focal length. Or even if you just want to see like comparison between these two lenses, let me know what you want to see. I'll make that video. If enough people down in the comments let me know. This is wild. 12 millimeters. You know what it feels like? It feels like one of those old like music videos from like Soundgarden or like Nirvana or whatever, right? Where they'll be like, I remember, what is that album cover? Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.